Hey, welcome back to the crypt. We're here with our long-promised vinyl roundup from a couple weeks ago. So this is kind of part two to when we went out and picked up like a bunch of movies like around Election Day and that week. So like so much stuff came in that I had to split it. And then of course like life runs away with your time. But we're here now and we've got something a little bit special here too. But we're going to start with the single releases. So one of the first things I picked up in that time period was Mondo's The Blob release. So this is for the remake Blob, which is honestly a pretty good movie. And it's got a fairly intense soundtrack too, so I knocked that thing over. So I think this is put out by Light in the Attic. And when I looked it up on Discogs, it was actually selling kind of high, so it's like, ooh, gonna grab that. So, and I keep wanting to say the disc because I'm not really sure how properly to refer to these. But, you know, the album itself looks really cool. It's got kind of the Blob's own color pattern here. At least from the remake, because the remake Blob is more of like a giant microorganism, and the few times you really get a good look at it, it's kind of like this weird pinkish color. So that was just kind of a nice touch. So I actually have this on CD. Well, technically digital. I don't know. Not even sure where I got that recording from. But there's a few things. I've had the time to listen to this. There's a few things on this that aren't on my digital version. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise. Getting to check this out. So it didn't come with. I like the inner sleeves that have like this like wax papery kind of stuff in there. I had to switch it out because it always makes me nervous if there's something in there that could maybe like scratch this or whatever. Because like vinyl is so expensive, and my taste in vinyl is for kind of rarer stuff that would be hard to replace. So that was our first really exciting vinyl pickup. So we prepare a spot to put these when we're done. Excuse me, still a little sick, so sorry about that. And then this was kind of a surprise. I didn't know it was out, so ooh, look at that glare. So this is the soundtrack to the new Suspiria movie, which just came out this year, and I really want to find the time to see. So I've heard this soundtrack is very different from Goblins, from the Suspiria we all know and love. It's more kind of like ambient, like sound kind of music, which I haven't gotten to listen to this yet. Partially because I was worried that because sound was so integral to the first Suspiria, that maybe it would somehow spoil the movie. But I actually asked the Suspiria Twitter account. It's like, hey, if I listen to the album, will that somehow spoil anything? And they were like, nope, go nuts. So we'll probably be doing that when we're done here. So it's another pink release, which, it still looks pretty cool. One thing I don't like about mine is that it's cut a little bit ragged, there's like a sharp edge there. But at least the inner sleeves are decent, and they come with what looks like these kind of insane ramblings. Fitting in with the theme of it. Oh, they're blue inside, that's neat too. So, but we'll get to evaluate that later. Like, just on the surface though, it's a really pretty release. And I didn't even know that it had come out yet, so it was kind of a surprise to encounter this. There's the back. So, it has like this kind of high contrast like art style. It's like this really intense like pink and blue, which doesn't seem to show up all too well on my current rig. But, hopefully the camera captures it a little bit better than I'm showing. So both, I keep trying to say discs. Both discs, I'm just going to do it, don't get pissed, are like the same kind of like solid pink. There's no like little fold-out poster or anything, which sometimes there's a little insert like that the package doesn't tell you about, but not this time. It is still really cool though, and well, it'd kind of take a lot to disappoint me, so I'm sure I'll be happy with it either way. And then up next we have kind of another blind buy. So this is the Waxwork release of Dario Argento's Phenomena, which I have not gotten to see yet, but if you remember from, I think it was August pickups, we found the Arrow Steel book, so haha! I would be amazed if I didn't end up enjoying this, because I typically really like anything Argento does. The only thing I'm really nervous about is the Stendhal syndrome, which everybody says sucks, but, you know, hey, we'll figure it out when we get there. So, first of all, it's one of the Waxwork releases that comes in, like, the really nice, like, outer slip, or whatever this is called. Like, I wish they would just put this on all of their releases, because some of them don't have it, and I would love to be able to just get, like, a bunch of these and standardize the collection. But one of the main reasons I ended up picking this up when I did was because of the insane, like, cover art. I mean, damn, like, I can't really do it justice, because it has, like, this really high gloss on it, and it just looks kind of like a really vivid photo. So, I mean, even the back, like, there's nothing really on the back, but even that's got, like, a big glow to it, as you can see my array of posters in the background. And then opening it up, now this does have, like, a little insert. So that's pretty cool. Ooh. Hopefully we got a good shot of that. And then there's this really awesome, like, inner panorama here. You know, again, like, very vivid packaging. And then let's take a look at, let's take a look at the actual vinyl. So, sadly these don't come in like the kind of paper fortified sleeve, so I might have to, like, get new ones. That's another thing Waxwork does. Oh, that's really pretty. It's another thing Waxwork does that I don't really like. Like, some of their releases have, like, those inner sleeves with, like, the static paper or whatever it's called, and some of them don't, and it's really kind of inconsistent. But, well, that's really cool. So it's got, like, this kind of splatter pattern with the blue. I think that's sort of meant to be, like, insects flying in, because that's, I know a bit about the movie. I know that's part of the theme. Like, Jennifer Connelly can control insects or something to that effect. But, yeah, let's make sure we get, like, a good kind of view of it. So, because the Waxwork titles, usually they're really gorgeous. So I really like Waxwork as a company. I just wish they were a bit more standardized, you know what I mean? So this was released as part of a trilogy of soundtracks for Argento films that Waxwork had kind of at the same time. So there was this, Inferno, and Profondo Rosso, or Russo. I always pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry guys. Deep Red. And when I was there, they had Inferno, but they didn't have Deep Red. But I came really close to picking up Inferno, but I figured I'd see if I liked this first. Plus, I haven't seen Inferno either, but I haven't necessarily heard great things about Inferno, so that might be a bit more of a gamble than this. Wow, that's cool. So this has the second one has a similar splatter kind of pattern, except it's like orange. Ooh, I really hope that's coming across. So, like, a lot of these things, like, you can't really do them justice unless you're, like, seeing them in person. But, man, it's a gorgeous release. Even if it doesn't sound, if it ends up sounding not all that great, like, I'm still pretty happy with the presentation of it. Let's try to get this back in here. Well, that's another thing too, like, usually with, it's got a fairly thick outer jacket, like, even for a Waxwork release, and usually it's kind of hard to get them slid back in, but this one is not giving me too much trouble, which is nice. Excuse me. It's winter here and where I am, and I just always get sick right away in winter. So, I thought about doing our next items as their own separate video, and I might still split it up, in which case nobody will be hearing this. But, so a while ago, so with the new Halloween movie coming out, Mondo decided to not only reissue Halloween 1, 2, and 3, which were some of their most expensive, like, back catalog items, they also released Halloween 4 and 5, and if you ordered 4 and 5, you got this really nice, like, slip box that the other 3 of their releases fit into. So this will house, and it's actually, I did try it, this does house Halloween 1 through 5 on vinyl, and it's fairly thick, and it looks really damn cool. So we've got Myers on the front, and oh my god, I can't believe I'm going to get her name wrong. Jamie. No, I'm right. Ha! And Jamie on the back, fitting in with the Halloween 1 through 5 kind of storyline. And I don't know if you can really see it, probably not, but on the inside it's got newspaper clippings of like the Myers attacks in orange. Which I thought that was a really nice added touch. So I pre-ordered, I found this website called Ed's Awesome Sounds, and I pre-ordered their special bundle, which was 4, 5, and Halloween 3 soundtracks, and it came with this, and it took quite a while for it to actually show up, but I was so happy with it when it did that, you know, I didn't really care. So, and it arrived in, like, great shape, so I would recommend those guys. Like, they were pretty nice. So, they even kind of interacted with me a little bit. It's like, hey guys, I pre-ordered that like 2 months ago, where is it? And it's like, oh yeah, it's coming out, and they were really, really cool about it. But anyway, so you guys will probably remember this from a previous video. So this is Halloween, the Halloween 1 Mondo soundtrack. We're just going to kind of go through the entire collection here, because they all fit together. So, this was originally stupid expensive from Mondo, at least for the one that they put out before. But this is the 2018 release of the original Halloween, and it is gorgeous, as you probably remember from before. You know, it's clear, it's got like an exploding pumpkin thing, it's really nice. And it came with the nice paper too. So, and I was totally wrong in my first video, because it turns out you can actually see quite well what the art is like. Like, I was confused at first because I couldn't see it very well on my monitor. It's like Myers looking in through a window, and it's pretty clear, like, on the back, too. It's great. Whew. Whoop. Let me just gently pile up all of the vinyl over here off camera. Whew. Man, I hope this stuff doesn't fall down. Wait, I have the box. What am I doing? And this next one is a pretty old pickup of mine. So I started first getting into vinyl like last winter, and I actually found this almost the first week of January this year. So this is Mondo's original Halloween 2 release, which the new one has a pretty cool outer sleeve, and I'm pretty sure it's different inside, but I'm a fan of this. This was one of the few vinyls that I just found used and was like super stoked about, and I was like, yeah! So I've got like a soft spot for this one, plus it's like this like smoky kind of white. I mean, it's somewhat translucent, but not really. Again, it's one of those things that you kind of have to see it in person to fully appreciate. And the art on the front is pretty sweet too. It's just, you know, the blood tears thing with like the hospital garb as I throw my expensive disc across the room. Whew, good lord. We have an aneurysm. The destruction of valuable property. And so now we're back into the Mondo reissues. So this actually came with that order. So their first Halloween 3 release was just like a simple, oh, it comes in a sleeve, just like, it was actually a single release, just like the Halloween 2 we just saw. They went with something a lot more elaborate for the reissue. So it comes with like this big, like, banner thing that covers up like all the creatures coming out of the pumpkins, fitting in with what the masks do to people in the movie, which was pretty nice. And it's kind of set up like an old, sound like a vintage like Halloween fun kit or whatever. It's sort of hard to describe. You kind of have to see it. So I'm going to try and tilt this down a little bit here. So, because it opens up like this, I try not to like damage it. It's got the full pumpkin thing. And of course it opens up to like spiders and bugs and everything in there. And so it's got a fairly long thing of liner notes, which, it can either be really interesting or really like, I have to read. And it comes with a bunch of these big cards, which, at first I was really puzzled by. Apparently it's some kind of Halloween party trick or whatever. So, and that gives you instructions for, like, pulling this off. Which, it's kind of neat when they do something a little different. And it fits in with the whole, like, tricks of Halloween kind of thing that movie is about. So, I mean, I probably won't have any actual people to try this on, but it is still cool that they included something like that. Kind of the only gripe I have with it is you have to do kind of a lot of digging through all that stuff to get to the actual album. So let's see if we can get in here. So, and it comes in again, kind of the mystery box aspect. So now this has 3 variants based on the 3. If you can, based on the 3 Halloween masks. So there was, ooh, this is hard. There's a witch, skeleton, and the jack-o'-lantern. And so they put out, there was a gray one, a green one, and an orange one. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to do. Let's see. Attempt to fix this. Hey, I got pretty good. And so I thought I had the jack-o'-lantern one, but apparently, if I can free it from its bizarre prison, apparently I got the witch instead, which I'm a big fan of green, so I'm happy with that. And it's also kind of translucent, like it's silver shamrock applebee's. Like, it's pretty rad. So Halloween 3 has, like, it's the one that does its own thing, and the soundtrack is also more or less doing its own thing. So, like, it's going to be a cool thing to listen to on vinyl. So this is one thing that I do have it, again, like, on digital. But there's, as I'm starting to learn, there's, like, differences between, what they put on the CD and then, like, how they mix it or put it on the record. So it'll be cool to finally have the Halloween set more or less completed. Yeah, because I ended up listening to tracks from this fairly frequently, just like on playlists when I'm walking around. And one thing I really like for vinyl is just like putting it on and like studying or reading a book. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see if we can get this back in here without too much trouble. Ugh. Emphasis on trouble, because, as cool as this packaging idea is, it's... I might not be breaking this out quite as much as I would like, just because it's, like, tricky to put back together. So, I'm going to have to do off camera. Although, one thing that's kind of nice, though, is because of the way it, like, bundles it up, Like, you don't really have to worry about it, like, falling out or anything. Like, it's, like, sealed. And now, on to the new Halloween LPs that were released for, I'm pretty sure, the first time on vinyl this year. Remastered from the original tapes. Mastered for vinyl by some guy. New art. Newly remastered version of the score to Halloween 4 on vinyl for the first time in 30 years. So, more or less, you know. But anyway, let's take a peek at the art here. So, like, that's pretty nice. Like, I personally don't like Halloween 4 and 5 all that much, but at least I found something cool to do with the art. I can't stand that mask, but I think the bag is maybe a little bit better. There's Jamie and Loomis. And, oh, looks like this does. Oh, that's rad. So this does have, like, a little pull-out liner notes thing. With, like, Michael, like, putting down the mask, or... I don't quite remember what's happening in this scene. Like, I need to revisit this movie, I think. But, yeah, it doesn't look like too much heavy reading. Yeah, I like the inner art. That's pretty nice. Now let's take a look at the actual record. So this is one of the ones where it's kind of tight to get out. So, okay, so it actually does have kind of the film in there. That's nice. Like the protective film. So, oh, and we are solid orange. Let's see. So it's just like solid orange, so there's nothing, it's not like a see-through or anything. It's just full-on pumpkin motif, which, you know, it's still pretty cool. Let's see if we can, yeah. Whew. Thanks for sticking with me, everybody. This is kind of a longer one, because we're going through a lot of stuff here. So some of these I kind of hung off opening or looking at it, just so that we'd have a genuine reaction. That's kind of part of the fun. It's like opening this stuff up with somebody else. Jeez. So one of the things I kind of don't like about that box is that it's a little bit hard to, like, once it starts filling up, it's a little bit hard to actually start putting them in there. So mainly the problem is these, because if you can see how it kind of, the way these were wrapped, like, they're springy, I guess is the best term. So because even though the album isn't like clamped in the corner or whatever, like it closes very kind of open, and so that makes cramming it into the case a little bit of a chore. So it's probably a good thing I don't have the new issue for Halloween 2, because the first one that I have, so you can see what I'm talking about, is the one that I have that's the original release for Halloween 2, like, see, it's got a much thinner profile, whereas all the rest of these are kind of, like, stuck open a little bit because the sleeve is so much thicker on each one. So, plus there's a good amount of air in there, too. So, you have to kind of exercise some caution cramming them in there. And now we're back with our final one, the Halloween 5 soundtrack, which... I could probably make a whole other video about my feelings on Halloween 5 and 6. But, you know, at least they took the thorn thing and made it into something cool, like the tattoo that he's got. And they used that for the cover art. So this does have liner notes, which look somewhat more involved. Oh, we don't get any art on this one. That's a little bit of a letdown, but oh well. Oh, it's just got like Myers in the Woods. That's cool. I mean, when I think of Michael Myers, I just think of him like in Haddonfield. Like I don't usually picture him in like other places, so this is nice. Wow, this was one of the ones where he started whipping out different weapons, I think. Or at least I'm assuming that that's what that's referring to. So I mean, all I really remember is the axe from part 6. Which, honestly, I think is maybe the only good thing in part 6. Like that one scene where he uses an axe. I met somebody at a con who was like really into that moment. And he had a bunch of prints of Michael Myers using an axe. And let's take a look. Oh, this one is apparently the same as Halloween 4. Just solid orange. And then on the back. So, well, I'm sure I'll have a good time listening to it anyway. So, again, the nice inner paper. Whew. Ooh, that was a long one. And let's see how this fits into the collection case. Watch me pick this up on the wrong side and they all fall out. It'd be like the saddest tragedy. So yeah, as you can kind of see, sort of like, you know, when I just like set it down, it just does that. So, eesh. And it's not like clamped on the disc, which is kind of how the sleeve is, or jacket. So I suddenly remember terms. Let's see, you have to kind of cram it in there a little bit, but you know, all 4 of them fit fairly nicely in there, as you can see. It makes the thing's pretty heavy, but I mean, if you see, they do kind of fall out like if you tipped it, but they're in there pretty snug for the most part. And if you had like the new Halloween 2 release, like I can only imagine they'd be in there like pretty tight. So I mean, if you were looking into getting the Halloween soundtracks on vinyl, get them now while you can still have a chance to get this case, because I think it started selling out, or at least that was a rumor I'd heard. I think Mondo's website still has them, and then Ed's Awesome Sounds, as of like a couple weeks ago, still had them. But who knows when you're actually seeing this? So, you know, if you want it, go for it now. You know. Well, that's it for vinyl. Man, we got a lot of stuff that one week. What a massacre on my wallet. So, well, I do have a couple of quick surprises though. So, in the time between when we picked all that stuff up and when we're filming, it was my birthday, and I got a handful of neat stuff for my birthday. So, just real quick, a friend of mine got the Baghead Jason pop from Walmart. So she got it at a discount because the box is kind of banged up, if you can kind of see. But, you know, it's the thought that counts, and it's honestly really cool. So I'm happy to have this. Plus, apparently, it's quite valuable. Like, we were seeing them for like $35 on eBay, so woo! But I'm not selling this. This is for me. And this was kind of a quick thing for, well, I actually bought this for somebody else. But apparently they make a Krampus pop. And kind of the cool thing about this, yeah, I know I'm opening it, whatever. Which, like my friend who got me Baghead Jason pop, she bought one too. And so she discovered this when she got home. There are like children in the thing on his back. Like, isn't that rad? And kind of a gift to myself, says Half Price Books was having their crazy sale, where you can get like a bunch of stuff. You can get stuff 20 to 50% off with coupons, and this was my 50% off item. So it's kind of the standard Alice figure from Madness Returns, which I did not play when it came out, and like a friend turned me onto it, and I ended up really enjoying it. Like, it was pretty great. and half price somehow had this for like 70, so after the coupon sale I got this for 35. I was seeing them for like 200 and just crazy numbers on Amazon, so it's a pretty cool find. And yeah, so that was our little quick bonus. So thanks for sticking with us through all of the madness. So if you like this video, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you later.